Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Automation Testing Insider. So this is part 16 of API testing series, and today we are going to talk about API chaining. So this is part B of API chaining concept, and in the last video we have spoken about some basics of API chaining concept, where we have seen to create some dependency using local API, correct? And today we'll focus on to create to talk about API chaining concepts using remote API, or some we can say some real APIs. We'll use some real APIs and we'll see how we can achieve the concept of API chaining. So what we can do today, we'll create more dependency among different HTTP requests and we'll understand the concept of API chaining better. Correct. So let's get started. So this is the website, guys, which I'm going to take the help from this website gorace.co.in, which we have already used in our previous video when we have spoken about authorization and authentication in APIs. We have used this website gorace.co.in. So this is very good website for REST APIs for testing and prototyping. So here you can see fake data. You can generate lots of data, fake data, and will get real responses, and it is online 24/7. So these are the different endpoints we have: public slash v2 under slash users for post requests, similarly for gate, put, patch, and delete. So these are the different endpoints, and we have to use these endpoints using the base URL which we have, like gorace.co.in. And here we have the documentation as well, like some steps as well, how we are going to use this website, some features, and for some of the requests, like request methods, put, post, patch, delete, needs access token, which needs to be passed with authorization header as bearer token, which we have already seen as part of our authorization video, right? So anyway, I'll explain this again as well. So how to access your token? So first of all, you need to access this website using your GitHub account, or you can use your Google account as well. So already I have logged in with my Gmail account. So here you can see my access token. So from here I have accessed this access token. So this is access token we have. So I'll use this, and there are some other features. You can just go around it. You can just look into it about this website, correct? And this is the data, like how we are going to send in this through this API. So we have name and gender, email, and status, correct? So what we are going to do is how to achieve this API chaining concept using this GoRest API. So we'll create different requests like get, post, put, patch, delete, and then we'll create different dependencies and different tests. Okay, so that you can understand better. So I have opened my postman over here, and this is what we have seen in the last video, API chaining. And I'll create a new collection, and simply I'll give the name API chaining, and let's give part 2. This is part 2 of here I have created the collection of API chaining part 2, and inside that we'll create some request. So let's create get request. What is the URL we have? This is the base URL, or you can directly copy from here as well. Copy it. For get request, we have, suppose we want to access particular resource, right? 2742. So we can give slash 2742, or if you want simply all the records, then till users you have to put the URL. So simply I'll put this URL, and what I'll do, this is the URL, right? So I'll give the name of this request as get request and simply click on save. Now let's see whether it is working or not. And for this particular thing, we don't need any authorization, right? So for get request, here it is clearly mentioned. For post, for put, post, patch, and delete, we need access token. Otherwise, we it not required, right? So simply what we are going to do, we'll send it. We'll see all the records over here. So you can see all the records are displayed over here: name, email, gender, status. These are the different IDs. Now let's do one thing. Let's create all the other requests as well. So simply I'll click these three dots and add request, add request. So let's rename this one, the second one. First one is get request, second one I'll rename it to post. This is the URL. Simply I'll put this URL over here, post. And in the post, what we are going to do, let me just give the let me give just save it, all the request first by putting the URL. This should be put, and we'll update particular record, so we'll put ID over here, so slash. Similarly for patch as well, I'll put the URL slash particular ID, which we'll give later on, and we'll add one more for delete. I'll select delete HTTP method here and put the URL and particular ID which we are going to delete. And I'll put post on top, because first we'll create the request. First we'll add the record. Sorry, what happened? Be on top. Yeah, post request is on top, and later on git will get the record for that particular ID. And similarly we'll execute other methods like put, patch, and delete. So here what we'll do, post will create some records, right? So what I'll do, I'll copy this from here and put it in the body of this post request. So select raw and JSON data, JSON type of data, and put it over here. And we don't need ID. ID automatically it will be created, unique ID it will create, correct? So beautify, and name, email, gender, and status. So these are the 4 fields we need to give for post request to create the record in the database. And similarly we have to give the unique email ID, otherwise it will give the error. First of all, let's see whether it will work or not, because we need access token for this one. So let's see. Let me just save it. Let's give a name as well, meaningful name, like post request, and put request, patch request, QUST, patch request, and delete request. Delete request, right? So these are the different requests which we have created, and post request we have given some data over here, right? Now let's see whether it will work or not. So simply click on send. You can see authentication failed because this require access token. So there are two options. We can give the access token. So from authorization we have to select the bearer token from here, and you have to provide the bearer token over here. The second is from at collection level we can give. So simply select this collection, and here we have authorization tab. So from here we'll give the bearer token and put the bearer token over here. So what is the bearer token we have? Copy this is the token which we have, and copy and put it over here. So this will be applicable for all the requests inside this collection. So that is the difference. So simply save it. Now if you go to this post request, you can see inherit auth from parent. You can see for this one as well. Go to authorization for another request like this, correct? So now let me try this. You'll get another error as well. Let's see what error you'll get. So simply click on send. Here it is failed, unprocessable entity, because we have got the same email id, right? So has already been taken, so simply we have to change the email id to some other email id, save it and send it. Now this time we got the correct response. Now what we are going to do, now all the requests we have created here, we'll do what we are going to do now to achieve the API chaining concept. Last time we have done that, so in the same way we'll do in the similar way as well. So it creates an ID, right? So which we are going to use in further request like get, put, patch, delete. So let's do this one first. Like let's save this response in this JSON response, and then from there retrieve the ID and create the environment variable of that ID. So how to do that? We have to go to this test tab, which will be executed once request has been completed. After that, test will be executed, right? The validation will happen after once the test got executed. After that, we'll execute this part, test tab. So how to save that, right? So we have JSON, we need to write some JavaScript. So we have to parse the JSON data, right? So how to do that? Response body, we have to save that response body to a variable. So this is how you need to write, and inside a variable we have to save it. I'll give some name like JSON data, and this will save the data, right? The JSON data, the complete response data. Now what we'll do, from that JSON data we'll extract the ID, correct? So and then we need to save this data, we need to save this particular ID. So how to save this? We'll save in environment variable. So you can see environment variable over here, there are no environment variable. So what we'll do, we'll save this environment, we'll create this environment variable of ID. So how to do that? pm dot environment dot set, and it takes two parameters, set method. So here we'll give env underscore id and comma, this is what we wanted to retrieve, and simply delete this, correct? So this piece of line, this line will give you this will create the environment variable, correct? So simply save this. Now let me execute it, whether it will work or not, we'll see. And first of all we need to change the ID again, so I'll put to save it and click on send. Now we got the response, and if you see the environment variable, the ID has been created, environment ID, which we are going to use in our further request. So what we'll do, simply I'll copy this environment variable and I'll put in the get request. How to put? Using double curly braces. Put it over here, save it. Similarly, I'll copy this complete URL, because URL will be the same for all other requests as well, correct? Only method will be different. So I'll copy this URL and I'll put it for patch request, save it. Sorry, for put request, for patch request as well, save it, and delete request as well, and save it. So the first part is done. We have created environment variable and save it. Now the second challenge using this request is, we have name, we have email ID, we have to change email ID every time, right? So how to make this email ID dynamically? How to change this dynamically? And we'll update the name as well, gender and static, it could be like duplicate, right? So we can keep gender and status same. And what we'll do, we'll update name and email. So how we are going to do that? Before sending the request we have to update it, right? So how to do that? So there is a tab called pre-request tab. So here we have to update it. Here we have to update the name and email. We have to provide the name and email, and then update the body, correct? By providing those environment variable over here, we'll do that. So how to achieve that? So what we'll do, we have in math library we have a function called random, using that will achieve this. And there is a that number will change it to a string, correct? So a string of 36 dot substring or yeah, so this will give you a random string. It will generate the random string. It will be little long, and then we have to cut it by giving this substring method. So we can give like 4 5 6 over here, so I'll give 5 only, and then we need to store this in a variable, correct? So let's say we store in a, like, I'll give random string, correct? So we have created a random string. Now what we'll do, we'll create different variables using this random string for name and email ID. So let's say for name, what we are going to do, we'll start with test name, and then just simply give this random string over here, random string, correct? So this will give me name variable. We can give like environment name, like this. Similarly, let's do it for email ID as well. Copy it, and I'll change environment email, and I'll start with test email, and then what we are going to do, we have to append with random string plus, we have to append with random string plus gmail@gmail.com, correct? We are going to use Gmail ID. So test email and then some random string @gmail.com. So we have created two variables, environment underscore name and environment underscore email. Now we have to set these two variables. These two variables we have to create as environment variable. So how to do that? pm dot environment dot set, and it takes two parameters. So what will give? Let's say we'll give like this name, and here we'll change a little bit like test name and test email, like this. Okay, variable name I have changed, and we'll put it over here. Similarly for pm dot environment dot set, here I'll create the environment variable. I have to give the name environment underscore email, and then what is the value we have? So test email, correct? So these two lines will create the environment variable for name and email. So far so good. Now what we are going to do, after, see, before sending this request, post request, this will be executed, right? So it will create environment name and environment email, and we have to use that inside our body. So how we are going to use that, those environment variables? Earlier we have seen how to use inside URL, right? We have to give give couple of like two curly braces, inside that we have to give the environment variable name. So similarly, how we are going to use inside body? So inside double quotation, what we are going to do, we have to use double curly braces. For similarly for this one as well. Yeah, one is extra. Yeah. Now what we have to do, from pre-request, what is the variable, environment variable name we have, environment underscore name, we have to pass it over here, correct? And here email like this. Now simply save this. So just keep in mind, while passing the environment variable inside URL, you have to just simply put the curly braces, and here we have to put inside the double quotation. That is the difference. Now save this, already saved. So let's see whether it is working or not. We'll request this post request first, whether it is working or not. Let's see. Click on send. Now you can see it has been executed successfully. We got the record, correct? 201 created. We got the message. Created message, right? 201. So this is how you can do. You can pass the environment variable inside body, correct? So the second part is done. Now we have to use inside this one like URL. So here already we have, and if you see the environment variable, all the environments have been created. Now let me show you this one. You can see here test name and some random ID, correct? So every time it generates random string. The code which we have written over here, JavaScript code, right? So this will generate the random string always. And here you can see test email, some random string, and then gmail.com. Okay, so till now it's fine. Now what we are going to use, what we are going to do here is, now let's put some test under this get request. What we are going to verify here, right? So in get request, what we are going to do, inside test we'll write some test to verify, because we are going to use the same response from here, like ID we are going to use, and using that ID we'll get the particular record. And when we get the response of this get request, let's verify whether that response is correct or not, right? So how to write test over here, correct? That is the question. So let's write some test, pm.test. This already we have seen earlier, like how to write test, and here we have to put like verify the response, JSON response. Simply give like this, and we'll use function, and inside this we'll write some test. So how we are going to write, let's store the JSON response first, right? So JSON response in the similar way. So pm dot response, this another way to save the response dot JSON. This is how we can save the response, and I'll store in a variable JSON data. This is one way. Another way is, we have already seen how to save the JSON data like this, and this is another way you can do that using JavaScript. Now what we are going to do is, here is, like from the JSON data, will whatever response we got will compare with the environment variable, because we have already stored here, right? The same response will get in get request when we put that particular ID. So simply what we'll do, we'll write some test over here, pm.expect, and what we are going to expect, JSON data dot ID, JSON data dot ID to equal function we have eql, and inside that what we are going to write, pm dot environment dot get. From here we'll get the environment variable. So for ID environment variable, what we have, this is the ID we have, right? Environment variable. So simply put it over here, and simply I'll copy the same line of code for name and email ID. So here it should be like ID dot name, and here what is the name of our environment variable, environment name and environment email. So for the third line as well, dot email, and simply you'll put the environment variable. So simply save it. So this is how we can perform testing over here. Like we can expect what we have we get using get response, the ID, and which we are comparing with environment variable, which we have already set up using this post request, right? So this is how you can create the tests over here. Now next thing what I'm going to do, so put request, you will get put request, right? So patch request, anyway, yeah, we need to do put request as well. So raw data JSON. So inside put, what we are going to do, let's update we'll keep the same, like gender and status. Yeah, let's update name and email, and then gender and status I'll keep the same. And let me save it. For patch, what I'm going to do, patch, what I'm going to do here is I'll simply update these two fields. I'll not update name and email. I'll update gender, like male, and active to inactive. Correct, save it. Now let's see whether it is working or not. So we have done everything. For delete request, we have given the URL and then ID we are passing the environment variable. We don't need body over here. So patch request, we have given the body male, and gender and status we are going to update. Put request, we are updating name and email. Get request, yeah, we have written some test. So let me just run it at collection level, right? So just run it. Go to that collection, 3 dots, and run collection. This is the order of your different requests, run order. You can see post, get, put, patch, and delete. Simply click on run. So you can see here post request 201 created, and get request 200 okay, put request 200 okay, patch request 200, and delete request 204. Why 204? Because in this particular API we don't get like 200 okay, because we cannot delete the particular resource. So it is showing like let me show you again. I'll clear the console and run it again. Now you can see here all the records got executed successfully, right? 201, 200, 200 for get, put, patch, delete. Delete, we got 204 instead of 200 for this particular API, right? So, and now how we can differentiate. So for the post, you can see what the response we got. So this is the response we got. ID is 4629885, and this is the name which we have generated. Test name and some random number, random string, and email ID. This is the email ID, gender, and active. Gender as female and active. Now we'll see whether this same response is this same ID is carrying over the get response or not. So you can see here 4629885 and the same email and gender and status, right? Now put request, we'll see same ID will be there. This is the ID which we have updated, right? Now you can see patch request. There we have updated, right? In the patch, what we have updated is status and gender. So you can see of patch request. Here you can see male we have updated and status as inactive. And delete, finally you'll get nothing over here. So this is how you need to see the console as well. And let me close this. Now let's do one thing. If you see the environment variable, you will see all the IDs over here, right? We have created environment ID, environment name, environment email. Now let's unset those IDs, the records which we have created, the environment variable. So how to do that? Just go to delete, and after performing the test, just unset those values. Pm dot how to unset pm those variables. Pm dot environment dot unset, and here we have to keep what is the value we have, environment id. Similarly for pm dot environment dot unset, name, and lastly pm dot environment dot unset. So it will be deleted from environment variable email. So just save this, because this will be executed uh, after completing this delete request. So saved it. Let me run it again. Delete the console. Just run it again from API chaining, run collection, and just make sure, guys, you have to run in a particular order, like post for which we create the record, right? And then get, put, patch, delete. So run. Now you can see here all executed successfully. We have only added one test inside a get request, so that's why here you can see all test one. Now if you check this environment variable, all environment variables are removed from here. So this is how you need to create the dependency among different HTTP requests, and in real project also you need to do in such a way. So that's all for today, guys. Let me know if you need any clarification or if you have any doubts. So just put your question in the comment box of this video. If you are new to this channel, then please subscribe it. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.